Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Jackson Black Show. Tonight, my guest is the devil on your shoulder, Mr. Lukas Scratch. How are you doing tonight, sir?
I am doing wonderful, Jackson. It's a pleasure to be here.
Ladies and gentlemen, this man, if you need a deal, I've heard he's the man to ask.
Yes, very much so. We're willing to work on any kind of deal you'd be interested in.
So, of all the things you could be doing as a man of your stature, what got you into the love of professional wrestling?
Well, I like to think I'm attracted to passion, and there's no one more passionate than people in professional wrestling, whether that's fans or wrestlers or anybody. You have to have real passion to be in this business. And that's the type of thing that I thrive on.
I love it. So, all the things that you're doing, you picked the wrestling to who are some of the I don't say that you modeled after anybody, but who are some of the people that maybe you looked into, maybe okay, that's a good avenue, or a good, like, maybe I could take a little bit of this, or being the man you are, maybe you just invented it all.
Well, I won't take credit for inventing it, but my inspirations are a little further back than your traditional managers, and I like to think most managers actually took notes from me. Well, I'm new to the wrestling business as this, but I've been around it for a little while now. And I like to think every devious plot has a little bit of my fingerprints on it.
Absolutely. So you've been around. You've been around quite a bit. Newer guys in the business. What would be your advice? Maybe not the evilest advice, but some advice that you would like to give them.
Well, I don't consider myself evil. That's something other people call me. But if I could give advice, it would be to listen. I think a lot of people, they act without thinking. I would advise them to take their time, figure out who they are, what they really want in this business, and question the best way to get it, because not everyone has good intentions like me.
I love this. I love it so much. It's so good. So you've been doing the managing thing. What has been the toughest aspect of maybe corralling some people?
Well, believe it or not, people have a hard time trusting me, and I don't know what that's all about. But once I do get a client who is smart enough to trust me, they reap the benefits beyond anything they've had before. And so I'm just trying to convince people that I'm an honest guy and I'm worthy of your trust.
I feel like what might happen is I sign a contract with you, and like some random store that pops up one day, and then I go back and the store's gone and no one ever knows about it.
Well, I drift around, and that's been known to happen, but that's, small businesses come and go. It's so hard to succeed as a small business owner. Don't you agree?
I fully agree.
Yes.
I fully agree. So what would be, where do you see yourself? I know you've seen yourself a lot of places, but where do you see this incarnation of you within maybe the next couple of years?
Well, I have plans to make it to the very top. Obviously I'm not a wrestler, but I like to think that one of my wrestlers will be world champion in a few years. On that, you can trust me.
I believe you. Sly man, I believe you. So who's your top do you have any top prospects or that you're looking at right now?
Yeah, well, my main top prospect is a wrestler by the name of Dante King. And he's been making waves throughout the Southwest, and he's going to make his way further out west very soon.
Oh, it's a sinful area out there, I've heard.
Oh, yes, Sin City, you could say.
So, being a part of the managing aspect of this game, what's like the wildest thing that you've seen at a show?
The wildest thing I've seen at a show. That is a very good question. Well, you see very strange things at wrestling shows. I'd say the strangest thing I've seen is a child about 2 or so, and while most of the kids see me and run away, this child walked right up to me and said, "Hi." And I found that very endearing. It's nice to know that not all children have bad judgment.
Future client, maybe.
Potentially. I like to think everyone's a potential client.
For sure. So I know you've probably traveled down the roads quite a bit. Everybody's got a good story. You got a good road story for us?
Well, I was on a road trip from hell coming to a show one time. We had driven all the way through the night, 30 minutes away from our home, and then all of a sudden the entire highway had been closed down. So we had to take a 2.5-hour detour before finally arriving back at our place. And goes without saying, no one in that vehicle was happy by the end of the trip.
I just love this. I love this. This is great. So I don't know if I've seen it happen many a times. Have you ever encountered just a ref that kind of just interferes in the match more than they should have?
Yes, many times. You could say every ref goes a little out of their way. Rather than call it down the middle, they seem to be biased. They always seem to be looking at me and accusing me of doing things I don't do. I never interfere in matches. Well, mostly. But that's really none of the ref's concern. You know what I mean.
I am very aware. I am very aware. So where would you say you see, I know your man, was it Dante
King.
Where would you guys like to be within the next year or so?
Well, I can tell you for a fact, he would like to make it to WWE, and I think I'm the guy to get him there.
Oh, I think you would just go over really well there. I think that would be great.
I think the devil would find his home there for some reason.
And if not, he can find another incarnation, another way.
There's always a devil somewhere.
So are you constantly whispering are you constantly in the ears of the other people trying to recruit, or is it just the main man you're focusing on right now?
Well, I reach out to everyone. I'm a helper. I like to offer my help to anyone. In fact, I have my eye on this weekend. I don't want to give too much away. They don't know I'm going to be there. But if anyone needs help, I'd be willing to offer advice, and I won't even ask for a single thing in return.
Find this difficult to believe, but I'll take you. You have a certain stigma that surrounds you.
My whole life, you wouldn't believe.
So being the man you are, do you think it's harder to play the straight line, or people always think that you're up to something?
Well, it's see, most people, when they meet another person, it's a one-to-one, but most people see me and immediately assume everything about me. And so my starting point is dealing with people who are apprehensive. So to put it another way, I'm used to dealing with people who don't want to deal with me and finding ways around the ways they don't want to deal with me and forcing them to deal with me.
Okay, so I'm trying to word these properly because I don't want to get tongue-tied with a man of your stature here. So let's see here. As you are in the business, have you ever been in the ring?
Yes, from time to time I get in the ring.
Have you ever taken a bump?
Not a full bump. I'm not a competitor, but I've been beat up plenty by some scoundrels.
Bad guys.
Every single one of them.
He's just trying to help, ladies and gentlemen. He's just trying to help.
Thank you. It's nice to know that you have a voice of reason.
I definitely understand, and I would probably be one of the people that would take you up on your offer.
Excellent. Should I bring up a contract?
We will talk about this off air.
Very well.
So, who are the people that you might have looked up to in this business that maybe I wouldn't say crafted you into who you are, because you've been around for a long time, but
well, I get compared to the sinister minister. obviously. We have a certain infernal flavor about us. And fashion-wise, Buddy Love and I, well, we just dig the same clothes.
Right? I love it. I love it. So where would you like to be yourself? Maybe if you're not attached to anybody,
Mhm.
because you are your personality, one that I have yet to see anywhere else. And I think that I feel like, man, I don't want to blow smoke up you, but
Well, I'm
I
used to
definitely
blowing smoke. It's
I
it's
could
kind of a routine thing where I'm from.
I could definitely see this personality being on a major brand or a major stage.
Well, I'd be willing to be anywhere for anyone who'd be willing to have me. I want to spread my message as far as I can.
So do you usually have a group of people that you look at first, or are you just always whispering, just
Uh,
seeing where you can pick up?
oh, I'm always have an eye open, and you might hear my voice in your ear, even if you don't see me.
Love it. So not growing up because that just doesn't as what was your favorite like product or feud in this industry that made maybe you're like, oh, okay, I really do love this. What was that single moment that maybe was like you were like, okay, I think I really should be a part of this industry?
Hmm. Well, I would say there was this underground fight club in Boyle Heights called Lucha Underground. And there was this man named Angelico, which not a fan of the name, but he fell straight from the heavens. And once I saw that, I thought, hey, if he fell from the heavens into a wrestling ring, why can't I?
That is a great pull. I remember watching him on an episode, and he jumped from it was like 10 feet away, all the way into the ring. I was like, he's dead.
That's
He's
the exact moment. Yes.
that man is dead. That man is dead. Okay. So how's the scene out there where you're at? Is it a good environment for professional wrestling?
Well, I'm currently in Albuquerque, and there's not very many shows that happen here, unfortunately. So there's lots of travel out of state, which I don't mind. I've traveled everywhere, far and wide. But the desert of Albuquerque is a desert of wrestling as well.
That must be terrible. The road is where you get the work done, but man, I wish I had a driver sometimes. I'll tell you
Mm.
that much. So I'm trying to keep this because I know you've been asked millions of questions all the time. What would you say to not even wrestlers, maybe just managers looking to break in? How because I don't know how you break in as a manager. I feel like it's way more difficult to break in as what you do than what I've done.
Yes, it's all about who you know, and it helps to know some wrestlers. See, had I not met the right wrestler, I don't know if I would have even thought of entering the management game. But thankfully, as fate would have it, it just so happens a close personal friend of mine got into the business, and it seemed like the right opportunity to take. So I guess what I'm saying is you need to have some luck, but you can make your own luck if you're willing to look for the right people. Find your local promotion and see if you can get involved somehow.
So you've been a part of some things. What has been a favorite match that you've been able to like witness as you being on the outside or that you've been a part of?
Let's see. Well, Dante King had a absolute banger, I believe the term is. A man named Roland Steele at Battleground. And, well, that match is very fond to me because I had a very nice cane, and let's just say after the match, I had two very nice canes.
I love it. I love it. So where's the farthest you've ever been on like a road trip to another?
Well, I took a 12-hour trip to Waco. That is the furthest I've ever gone in one go.
So that was a 12-hour there?
Yes.
Oh, so like a whole day back and forth.
Yes.
Wow. I've done 10 back and forth, but never that's a whole day.
We did stay, so it
Yeah.
wasn't in one day, but mortals
Still,
have to rest, apparently.
it's such a tricky thing with us. We need rest, we need to eat and drink and
Yes.
all these things that probably a man of your stature is not troubled with.
Yes, it's confusing. That I'm learning. I'm trying to participate in the human experience as best I can.
It's difficult, I would assume.
Yes, it is. You have different points of view than me.
Most of us do.
Yes.
Most of us do. It's just, I'm sorry, there's a stigma attached to your name. I didn't create it. I like the deal.
Yes.
So do you find it hard being you in this business? Or is it easier?
Well, I think it's easier. Everyone, well, when they see me, they know exactly who I am. They know exactly what I'm about, or at least they have an idea, and they know I'm not someone they should be messing with.
Okay, sidetrack. We're gonna sidetrack it here. Who are some of the? Let's just like, what would be your like top 5 Mount Rushmore of like of wrestlers or managers? You can throw anybody you want in there.
All-time greats.
To you.
To me, well, I would have to say Macho Man Randy Savage. He was very influential on many younger people that were, well, around the age of this body I'm inhabiting. So I'd have to say Macho Man. He's a childhood idol. I would have to say the icon Sting as well. He's been enduring for many, many decades, and he has a gravitas about him that I admire. Now then, who else should I say? I would have to say China as well. I think she broke a lot of barriers, and I don't think she gets the recognition she deserves. And you can't have a modern women's wrestling industry if China wasn't there to explode the way she did. And if I had to find one more, well, you have to go with the dirtiest player in the game, Ric Flair. And I can tell you, he definitely learned some of those tricks from someone below.
I love it. That's a great list right there. Those are all iconic professional wrestlers. Is there any one single moment that you can recall, maybe as a child in that particular body, that you were like, oh my, no, I'm not going to say that. Oh,
Not a fan of him, no.
Oh, I don't even know what to say.
You can say God. I've heard it
Oh.
enough.
Oh, I'll just say, oh my Atlanta. Was there anybody? Was there like that single pivotal moment that you were like, yes, this is it. This is the path.
Well, as a child, you mean?
Yes, in that incarnation of you.
Yes. I don't know if there was any particular instance. I grew up, well, this body grew up watching wrestling from afar. It was not really allowed in my family, and so whenever I'd see these larger-than-life figures like Sting or Chyna, I'd be captivated by them. And so it wasn't until I had grown up and looked back that I began to appreciate their work on a much deeper level.
I agree fully. I love all those people. China was I'd love to talk about. Let's just, you know what? Let's take a little sidetrack. Let's talk about some China, because I mean, China came into the game, was just massive, and then she started getting that push against the men, and then she was just decimating the men.
Yes.
Holding that Intercontinental title. I mean, for even women out here, such an influential, like I would put her into Jazz or somebody like Jazz as like pioneers of that era of professional wrestling, when everybody was like a I don't even know what you would call them. They were just all the same character, the same mold, all blonde hair, all lean, and
cookie cutter, very much.
China was ahead, and like I say this to everybody, I believe China and Jazz, if they were around now, I don't think anybody would be able to touch them.
That's a good point. It's debatable. I'm sure I know many female wrestlers who'd probably be willing to debate that point, but there's no doubt they'd be at the top of the list.
I agree full. Like Jazz, all just product of a bad era. It's
Unfortunate.
It's
Timing
sad.
is everything, and bad timing is everything as well.
It is true. And I just so coming back from our little China sidetrack, where would you like to? Okay, we'll do this one. I do this one at the end usually, but what would you like your legacy to be when this body is no longer on this plane of existence?
Well, I would like people to remember my work fondly. It seems even people who disagree with me are captivated by me whenever I grab a microphone and step in the ring. And so I would like, well, I know that people will remember my voice in their ear. And I hope it stays with them even if I'm no longer there.
Love it. Love it. So you're sitting down, there and you're just looking up. Are you finding it, do you think it would be easier to be in like the debauchery of maybe like an Attitude Era as opposed to where we kind of are now?
Personally, I like to think I'm adaptable. I think I could fit in anywhere, anytime, and I might have to change a thing or two, but that's just part of the game.
So talking about all the different promotions, and do you have any aspirations to maybe venture outside the country and do some work in some other countries?
I would work in Europe, Mexico, Japan, really anywhere. If there's an opportunity to travel and spread my message, I would love to go.
I believe the same thing. Anywhere to get that experience in, and I bet you are electric on the microphone. You're electric right now. I believe it's amazing.
Belief is everything.
I'm gonna put you over just a little bit here because I don't do this a lot. So, ladies and gentlemen, I was coming back from a show I got home at about 5:30 in the morning, and I'm scrolling through Facebook, and I'm like, who is this fella? So I click on him immediately, and he's doing a promo, immediately captivated. And I was like, oh, I got to have this guy on the show. The voice is perfect. The look is extraordinary. I would have to say that you are probably in the top 10 to 15% in this industry, just with the voice and the whole thing. And that was me putting you over, and now I'm done with that.
Well, you can continue if you want. I won't stop you.
I can just listen to you talk and read me books on tape. It'd be great. So what is the favorite, maybe your prized interaction that you've got to have in this industry so far?
My prized interaction? Well, I've had a couple of run-ins with Hobo Hank. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a bit of a legend in the Southwest, and I crossed his path a few times, and I can't say I'm a fan of the man, but it is nice to encounter a legend, even if you have to beat him up.
Hey, sometimes you got to put them in their place.
Yes, exactly.
It happens. So what would you say the toughest aspect of your job is?
The toughest aspect? Well, traveling. Again, for mortals, it wears on the body. You're cramped in confined spaces for hours at a time. You don't have the best nutrition, and well, let's just hope everyone in the car is bathed recently.
I'm glad we touched on the hygiene, because sometimes that's an issue. I have been in only like one car with it being an issue, but oh man, you know, I feel like, okay, this just popped in my head. I feel like you would have had like a great interaction with like Jimmy Hart. Like you and Jimmy Hart would have just been beautiful.
No doubt. I would think I'd have beautiful interactions with just about anyone, but Jimmy Hart I wouldn't mind representing someone with him.
You'd be
a better client.
He'd be the mouse of the South, and you'd be the mouth of the Deep South.
The deep, yes.
I love it. So, wrestling always gets crazy, and it's always jumbled. Do you remember your first show? How were you feeling? Did you have any of the jitters, or were you just calm as a cucumber?
I'm calm as a cucumber. I've been doing something of this nature for quite a while. I'm used to being in front of people and interacting with them. So it wasn't too much of a change of pace for me to step in a ring.
Okay, okay. So so you're the man that whispers in people's ears and all that stuff, all that good jazz. Where's like where's a place that you're looking forward to maybe showing your talent to, like a promotion maybe you haven't been to yet, or something that you really like, you're like, I got to get there.
Well, I mentioned the big ones, obviously, your WWEs and
Yeah.
EWs, but uh, I believe in the near future I will have an opportunity at Future Stars of Wrestling out in Las Vegas. And Dante King has made an appearance there, and I might join him in the not too distant future.
That's is that Sin Bodhi's area?
Hmm. You know, I'm actually not sure off the top of my head.
Okay, because
I'll
I
have
know
to do a
he
little more
does
research.
work in Vegas. It's like the clown with the giant beard, and oh, he's a good dude. Anyways, so have you like, I had a guy on here as a manager before, and he have you ever been chopped?
Oh, yes. And to tell you the truth, I kind of like it.
Oh,
Yes.
a little pain and
Don't tell
pleasure.
the other wrestlers. They like to think they're hurting me.
Do you just indulge them and be like, oh,
I am one for indulgence, yes.
I have heard this about you. I have definitely heard this about you. So everybody gets into funny. I've had a couple of funny encounters in the ring. What has been the funniest maybe that you've witnessed or probably had your hand in that you've been in the ring with or had a part in?
Well, I'll go back to my story of Hobo Hank. See, the man is, and hygiene as well. See, this man, he likes to rub his disgusting armpit in people's faces. And so I thought if I had some right guard, we could prevent it. But the problem is I didn't bring the left guard, and so he was still able to think my client.
Oh, that kind of popped me when you said. So, what's been your favorite? I know some people don't like to answer this one. What's been the favorite promotion that you've been to that you're like, oh man, this feels like home?
I I don't know if I have a favorite one yet. I am still relatively new. I've only worked with a handful of promotions, and I like them all. I enjoy working with IZW in Arizona in Battleground. I've also worked with Sonoran Championship Wrestling. And don't tell anyone, but tomorrow I should be at Motivate Pro Wrestling in Texas. So I'm
Oh,
excited to make my debut there.
everything's bigger in Texas, I've heard.
Yes.
I feel like that's a place for you. That personality and that charisma and everything should.
Oh,
It's.
they'll love me.
I would assume that they would. So if you could maybe sit down and talk to anybody in the business
Hmm.
now, in the past, anytime, who would you like to pick the ear, bend the ear of?
Hmm. Well, I'm going to go way, way back. I'm going to say Gorgeous George. And let's just say that there's a personal connection there, and we might have some distant blood relations.
Great entertainer, great worker. Uh, you can watch that stuff. You can watch it now and just be absolutely still captivated, and it's beautiful. Good work all around. So you have a cane you carry to the ring,
I do.
and I assume that this has been used before.
Oh, well,
And
I need it to walk, obviously.
mm-hmm.
Well, and it's also useful to defend myself. There's very large, angry men in wrestling. I'm not sure if you're aware. And
Oh,
so,
I get beat up by him.
oh yes. And so it's nice to have something to even the odds.
I like that. So you have a show coming up.
It's
Coming
a
up.
prize for someone.
Is this somebody that you're scouting, possibly?
Possibly.
Ooh. You're gonna have a whole stable full of just.
Oh, why stop at a stable? Why not have an army?
You know what? That is not a bad idea. So who has been the most like I would say I've met a couple of the bigger names and stuff. Who's been the most grounded to you that's been approachable and maybe more personable than the
Hmm.
rest?
I met the Brian Kendrick at Battleground, and he is, well, you said cool as a cucumber, and he's even cooler than that.
Great wrestler. Jeez. Great worker, great entertainer. So you have you have this whole you're the bad guy. But like I'm finding it really hard to dislike. I don't know what you do. I bet you're up to some shenanigans on the outside, but
Never.
I could not want to chop you. I'd be like, okay, let's join up and do some damage here.
See, and that makes you a man of reason, and I respect that.
I could see you riling up the fans a little bit though.
Yes, well, they say things, I say much, much worse things, and it just goes on from there.
So what it would be your I've had a couple of nutty one, but what would be the wildest maybe reaction that you've gotten from one of these said fans?
Well, there was this woman, an older woman, and once I spoke on the microphone, she was yelling at me, and the second I spoke and my powerful voice echoed out, she went, "Oh!" And I knew then she couldn't handle me, and all those verbal abuse was for naught.
Oh, I can just imagine that you get a quite a reaction. I would love to know what the reaction of you going into Texas is going to be. I oh, I I would love to see you go to like a really out here we have like the Bible Belt,
Yeah.
and I feel like oh a man like you would just get you would be a furnace for heat. I don't think that that would be that. Do you ever have any ideas of coming out?
I definitely wouldn't mind making my way. The Bible Belt's been on my list. I get to interact with all my favorite people.
I don't know how much they like you, but
I like them, and that's the tragedy of it all.
some people can't be helped.
They
Some
can
people
only
can't be
help
helped.
themselves.
So, do you have like a lot coming up this year? You got a lot of big plans for the year?
Oh, yes, yes. I have many dates coming up and hoping to fill out more. Last year was I have yet to have a full year in this industry. So I'm
Oh,
hopeful that after a full calendar year, I'll be able to look back and smile at all my accomplishments.
I, man, I'm just gonna do it again. I really dig the whole thing. I feel like, I feel like you got something with this. I feel like this aren't incarnation of you. I feel like you really got something bottled here. And when more people put their eyes upon what you are producing, I feel like, man, you might be gonna, you might be. I might not take any time at all. You just never know.
I'd be ready to unleash hell right now.
So, given all of your whispers and everything, what would be an endearing thing that people could maybe attach themselves to you? Because a lot of people are gonna not be digging the
Yeah.
thing.
Well, like you said, there's a stigma attached to people who look like me. And if there's something endearing, I would say that I believe in passion. I mentioned this at the beginning, and that's any kind of passion. If you, listeners and viewers watching this, have any passion, know that I support you. I support you in that thing that makes your heart beat, because that's the exact same thing that motivates me to be here now.
And my favorite thing about this industry, I hear it sometimes. There's disparaging, but I feel like professional wrestling is all inclusive. It's for everybody. Um, and good finding a good way to present yourself to the world. If you're doing it, I dig it all. So what are some besides the shush date? What's some dates you got coming up where people can come and see you?
Well, I have a rather large show at IZW February 25th, and I've mentioned Motivate. It's tomorrow, the 4th. As for the rest, well, let's just say there's some things up in the air still, and once they land, I'll be able to give you some exact dates.
Okay. So let's talk about like your client right now. I have seen his work.
Yes.
Uh, sheesh, sheesh is really talented. How did you guys link up to be a duo?
Well, he's had some tragedy and he was at a low point and he needed some guidance, and there's just something about someone in need that draws me to them, and I just found him, and it's like we clicked. The magic just worked, and he signed a deal, and he's been up ever since.
Was it an organic fit or
Most
did you
definitely.
most definitely? That's awesome. Okay, so man, I okay, so this one's fun. What is if in a match, what is the weirdest thing that you've ever had happen in a match or been witness to? I've seen some weird things. I saw an old lady throw her teeth at somebody before
Hmm.
and then ask for them back.
Yes. Well, I have yet to see that, but that cane I mentioned, well, let's just say some of those brutal, big, beefy, violent men tried to put it in a very inappropriate place on my body, and I was lucky to get away.
Don't do
I'll
that,
let you use
guys.
your imagination.
I'm putting I'm putting it together and that's uncalled for, guys, okay?
Yes, especially, well,
He,
I won't go into detail.
he is just a man offering you a deal. He is just a
Exactly.
man whispering in your ear. It's up to you if you take it, but you do not need to assault a
Yes.
man of his stature. He's been around a lot longer than you.
Yes. I'm old. People should respect their elders, and yes, I might have hit them a time or two, but that was no reaction worthy of that.
I bad guys don't do that stuff. That is just
Exactly.
not good.
Mm-mm.
So if okay, so this is an ideal. So if you could ideally have any client in history, what would be your guy?
Hmm. Any client in all of history? Well, there is Cain, straight from the depths of hell, my domain. It would be nice to have a big red meetup.
That you're speaking to a man who is a was the part of the training school that I attended, which
Small world, isn't
it
it?
is a small world, and I can tell you this: he is not a small man.
No, very much not.
He very intimidating presence, especially as okay. Speaking of him, what was your favorite incarnation of the Red Machine there?
I think you have to go to the original. Him ripping the door off that cage is ingrained in so many wrestling fans' memories, established him as an actual monster, a believable monster.
That would have been a Paul Bearer versus you, like
Ooh,
that. Ooh, I would have
yes.
loved to see that. I'd like to see you link up with James Mitchell too. That would be that'd be entertaining.
Oh, most definitely. I think we'd have some quarrel about who represents it best.
If I had you guys on the same show, I would put you out there like a Chris Jericho like deal, like where he did the. I'd be like 10 minutes. Go out there and do your thing.
Ooh, I would love that.
I feel like
If
you
anyone
should.
wants to make it happen, I'm ready, willing, and able.
I feel like you should get that platform through the years and through the ages. You've had it in certain spots.
Yes.
I feel like professional wrestling needs you to have that platform.
Yes, I agree. I think I deserve the biggest platform you can offer me. So if anyone wants to put me on that platform, I'm waiting.
He's waiting, ladies and gentlemen. So where would you like to beside I know we said all this, the big shows. What is one because like there's always like one indie show. For me, it's out here there's like a show called Imperial Wrestling. It's got all the top tier guys. What would be the best that one show that you would like to display your craft for a bigger audience?
I mentioned it earlier, but Future Stars of Wrestling, I think, is the biggest one, at least where I'm at. And that's where I would like to migrate to.
I feel like you could be behind the Wicked Clown Sin Bodhi, and that would be kind of cool too. I think it would be. Check them out. It's
Mm.
very entertaining. Okay, man. Sir, sir.
You
Uh,
you Don't worry, you can address me as you wish.
Let's go. Let's do social media because that is the way of the times now.
Yes.
Where would you be found on social media so followers of you could maybe find you?
Well, right now the best place to find me is on Instagram, old_Mr_Scratch, and TikTok coming soon. I'm also on Facebook if you would like to add me on there.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jackson Black. This is the devil in your ear, the devil on your shoulder, Mr. Lukas Scratch. A personality that I'm going to put over again, very big personality, good for the industry. I love it all. I wish you the best going forward, sir.
Same to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Jackson Black Show.